All right, so why is Hornite interesting? She's interesting because she wasn't afraid to challenge powerful people like Freud, and that's even an even bigger deal for a woman of her time because women didn't do things like that. They didn't get an education, they didn't get an identity, and they certainly didn't challenge the ideas of powerful men. And I think she introduced a completely new perspective than other personality theorists because she took the woman's perspective into account and she stood up for the women of different cultures. And um, yeah, she really brought that idea to play because no one was even thinking of women before that. She totally broke social norms and barriers for women at the time. I'm sure she inspired a lot of people because she practiced what she preached and she did get a degree and she did build her own identity. And I think she has a more positive approach because she focuses more on free will. She says our personality is from social aspects. So that means if you change your social setting, you can change your personality. So if you're in kind of a sucky social setting, like you're not hanging out with the right people and you don't like the personality you have, she thinks that you can change that and that's up to you to do that and you're not stuck with some bad personality traits. What does Horney say about me? I can relate to a lot of her theories as a woman, and I definitely relate to the idea of the tyranny of the shoulds and the idealized self because I do think the tyranny of the shoulds are present in my life every day, and I'm always saying what the thing I should do next, instead of just looking at myself as a realistic human. And even though I should do some things, I don't need to do everything. And I don't need to have all the jobs, all the work experience, all the perfect grades and everything. And I think that's a lot of people of my age and generation face the tyranny of the shoulds every day. And I like how she says we're always changing because I can see that in my life too. Like my personality is always changing, and I definitely think social factors like who I hung out with and where you live plays a big part of that. And I really like the idea of women developing their own identity because I think that's really important. And I've always thought that was important. But um, I really see, I don't know, positive changes from women who have their own identity aside from their husband or their boyfriend or their friends, even. Um, yeah, they're just proud to do something on their own, and I think it's a positive thing. Um, Horney versus Freud. So I compared Horney to Freud because they kind of have a lot of beef, and she contradicts a lot of his theories. Since he was so one-sided, and she was very feminist and believed women should be included in theories too. So one major difference is she believed personality developed out of social factors and was evolving, while Freud believed it was biological and kind of more set in stone. So I think hers is more positive and he's more kind of negative and dreary because he thinks if you have that one trait and you don't like it, you're stuck with it because it's biological. Freud based all his theories off men, such as penis envy, and Horney was the first to say that women are different. Like we want self identity, and we don't have penis envy. And she was like, "You guys have womb envy," so she totally counteracted him and challenged everything he said because his theories weren't valid when she kind of said that he ignored women. Why did I choose Horneye? I chose her because I really like her views on women. I think it's really inspiring that she was able to say all this at a time when women weren't valued in society and when they weren't listened to or even heard, and she kind of gave them a voice. So I thought that was really brave of her for going against the grain and fighting for women's point of view. And I like how she considered other cultures. Um, and I think there was no like shaming. Like she was like, "Oh, well, you didn't find your identity," because she knew cultures saw women differently, and it's hard for women to go completely against their culture and what they say. And I think she paved the way for women to be heard in society and have a role and get educated and get jobs and be able to stand up to powerful men who don't even take their perspective into account.